Minimum viable product, better known as MVP. Customer development model. Now, basically, this is going to help you understand your customer and develop your product. By doing this, is going to help you develop a sales model, create and drive user demand. Also, it's going to help you go from the learning and discovery stages to the actual execution of your product. Customer discovery. Are there customers and a market for your vision? Who is your customer and is their problem important enough to fix? Now, this is basically going to be the stage that helps you figure that out. You're going to also get help on shaping your uniqueness from all the other potential companies that are already out there and basically your competition. Customer validation. Customer validation proves that you have found a set of customers and a market who react positively to your product. So basically, you're figuring out that there are people in need of what you actually are trying to do, your product, your business. There are people that are willing to pay money to actually use whatever you are putting on the market. Customer creation. It basically builds on the success of the company and its initial sales. That's this stage's main focus, trying to help you drive up your sales, capitalizing off of whatever it is you're trying to do. Company building. This is the stage where you actually start to break down those different departments within your company, like your VPs, a VP of sale, marketing, business development, things of that nature. It's going to help you break down this company to help you basically expand. But you have to be careful not to do it too quickly, because if you expand too quickly, it could be the demise of your business. The minimum viable product, again, MVP. Now, it represents your product. It's basically going to be a cheap way to, a cheap with little to no effort way to put your product out there. And it's also going to be a learning experience. It's important because it helps you, it basically helps you figure out what your customers need, what they're looking for in your product. Some examples of using the minimum viable product. Uber, when it first came out, which was in 2010, it was only offered to iPhone users. So basically it was a way for the driver and iPhone users to connect to each other. It was enabled that they can make payments, but that's the way that they tested it out. They only used it with the iPhone first. If you look at Uber in 2015, their net worth, they made over 1.5 million billion dollars. So it has been a very viable company over time. Along with that, Airbnb, a lot of people haven't heard of it, but in 2007, this idea just came from two guys that were struggling to pay their rent. They ended up having a convention come into their town, so they took pictures of their place and they basically offered, hey, bed, we're you can stay here, we're also going to provide breakfast and food. So it became Airbnb, a bed and breakfast. For my personal company, I want to start a company that produces dolls and children's books. Over time, I do want to expand it where I do other things like making sure kids can actually go online and possibly, creating dolls that replicate them, that look like them, and I'm able to send them dolls out. But that's kind of farther down the line. Initially, I want to be able to show, be able to provide dolls for kids and children's books for kids that the kid feels that they can relate to more. That's the problem I see with a lot of toys today. A lot of kids can't relate to all of those dolls because they're quote unquote too perfect. So what I would do to kind of test out if this would be a viable business, I would take pictures of kids like the ones you see here. I would take pictures of kids. I would go to different schools, different libraries, things that to that nature where I could gather, a set amount of kids around, and I would show them pictures of these children and different things, like maybe them playing on play sets, maybe them going on adventures, just to kind of keep the child engaged. And I would read off a story to them, or I would just interact with them and let them know that this is a child that's going through this and this and this, making it interesting enough where the child actually is so drawn into the story, where they're just like, I want this doll. I want to see, I want to have this adventure with this doll. I want to take this doll home with me. I would do it to that nature. So I keep it where I literally pay little to no money to test out my theory. And as long as I can keep a child engaged enough in what I'm saying and what I'm doing, I'm pretty positive that the child would be, excited to tell their parents or tell, their friends about, the story that they heard and how intrigued they were, and how, oh, I want to get that doll. I want to be a part of that journey. So that's the way I would actually present a minimum, my MVP, basically showing them, hey, this is, you could be this little girl, you could be this little boy, with, just showing them the pictures. I also provided the references that I used as well.